I was negative like $70,000. Like, no, it's not the money. It is the people. It's
Mhm.
farming. It's an American dream. You
Okay,
can tell they're all running in
cool.
the field except Faith. As soon as she sees me, say hi.
Those amazing sounds.
I know.
Cool. Well, they're adorable. Thank you for letting us meet them.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Dr. Elliott Garber, and this is Creatures, where animal people talk business. Today, I'm sitting down with Lindsey Daugherty of Seven Daugherty Farm in South Carolina. Lindsey has been working in senior living and related technology for over 20 years, and somehow, alongside all that and raising a family, she's built a multi-species farm business with miniature cattle, Nigerian Dwarf goats, pasture-raised chickens, and Siberian cats she imported from Russia. We talk through how her own farm revenue grew from $20,000 in year one to over $100,000 last year. The unusual partnership she's built with Family Circle Farms, where they share bulls and more, and the online auction she's hosting on Creatures during Mother's Day weekend with 50 animals from 6 different small farms. She also opens up about the personal loss that pushed her family back to the land in the first place, and what most people get wrong about why anyone is in this business at all. Let's get into it. Hey, Lindsey, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Well, we've been communicating on and off over the last year or so, maybe a little bit more than that. I think you first connected because I had advertised in one of the Facebook groups a little silver chondropositive calf that I had, and you reached out and ended up buying her. So that started what has turned into a virtual friendship as we've discussed our various animal businesses and gotten things going over the last year. So thank you for agreeing to be a guest on the podcast, and let's just jump right into it.
Perfect.
So before we really get into the meat of the questions, could you just give us kind of a 60-second tour of what's happening at your farm now, what the animals are, the businesses, and kind of the current state of things?
Yeah. What's not happening? I'm just kidding. So we have mostly miniature cattle, Highland crosses typically. We still do Nigerian dwarfs. When I talk about miniature cattle, we believe in dairy, so we do have our own dairy. So the Nigerian dwarfs are also a dairy source.
Okay.
So the Nigerian dwarfs, and then of course chickens. They are provide eggs to the local community, which is really really great. And then the last thing I have is the cats. So
Oh,
I have
yeah.
Siberian
Cool.
kittens. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's chickens. That was one of my first animal businesses in middle school. I did a whole business plan of buying chicks from Murray McMurray Hatchery and raising them up and selling eggs at my middle school carpool line to my friends' parents. So I've always been doing this stuff for a long time.
Amazing.
But yeah, so for you as a kid, did you grow up kind of always being slightly an animal freak, animal kid like me, or did this kind of come around later in life?
I did grow up in the country pretty poor. So, you know how that works. You get very, very creative. We had horses, we had chickens, ducks. We've killed most of the ducks, unfortunately, just because we weren't really good at that. But it
Uh,
was mostly just dabbling. I had an aunt that was also into farming and goats and horses
okay,
and
cool.
all kinds of things. So, yeah, um, definitely started that way, went to city, and then came back, if that makes sense.
Got it. Cool. And do you remember the first money or income you ever made from animals?
I don't know that I wanna ever have sold my animals, honestly, because I was very, very attached, unless they, like, passed away, unfortunately. I'd sold cookies, like, at a state fair, but
Nice.
not
Yeah.
animals until I got older, yes, and
Okay.
then the first goat was a goat that we sold. It was the hardest thing I ever done.
That makes sense. Yeah. And so that was as an adult after you kind of got back to the current farming adventure. Is that
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, it
Okay.
was, like, 5 years ago, and I just
Huh.
didn't wanna do it. I wanted to keep every
Yeah.
animal, yeah.
And how did you find that first customer then? Do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, Facebook has been kind to us, honestly, and so we've found most of our customers through
Yeah.
Facebook. We do a lot of community outreach, but someone reached out through Messenger.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I mean, that's what I've seen over the last few years is that Facebook really seems to be the primary place where people are connecting with each other, even though kind of crazily it explicitly tries to stop any discussion of buying and selling animals. So it's a weird dynamic.
It is.
Yeah. So walk us through kind of your path of your normal career in senior living and technology and things. and then getting to building your farm, and how did that come about?
Yeah, so I've been in senior living since 1997, so it's showing my age just a bit. But I started out as caregiving and really just I've always been an advocate and wanting to make change, right? So I wanted to change the way things were done in senior living. And so as I worked my way up from caregiver to VP of ops, started working with tech to create a platform to really help the caregiver and give them a tool. And so about 3 years ago, I went into tech just to kind of improve the experience of not just the caregiver and the operator, but the resident in senior living. And during that time, I served as a nurse on the floor during COVID, and that was because we needed hands on the floor, right? And so when that was happening, we went through COVID and, you just have to lead by example. And it just kind of brought me back to the caring that I was missing. As you work
Mm,
your way up in leadership, you start to kind of lose sight of the folks on the floor and what it feels like to care for others. And I think what really triggered me was all the loss I was seeing.
mhm.
And then I had personal loss. So my mother and my grandmother passed at the
Oh,
end of
man.
COVID from
Sorry.
COVID.
Oh,
And
wow.
I looked at my husband and said, "We need to go back. Like, we just need to go back to our roots. We need to get out of this, city life and let our kids reconnect with nature and let's go back to what makes us happy." And we did. And so honestly, it took me through senior living. The tech company I work for now supports my farm. They knew about it before I joined them because
That's
I'm like,
great.
listen, I love animals. I'm obsessed. I need healing. Please, please work with me. And so,
That's great.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my main job, as you know, is a similar kind of
Yeah.
fully remote job with a software company, and it's so great how you can have kind of the flexibility to work when you need and take care of animal things when I need to, and all the other aspects of life too. So it's a really great fit for me too.
Yeah, I love that. That's I think what got us talking is like we realized we both were doing tech and animals, which was
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. So you said you first had the goats. Were those Nigerian dwarfs from the beginning?
yeah, that's what we
Okay.
started with. We ended up going into myotonic for a little bit as well. We just sold that herd.
Okay.
Yeah, Nigerians was where we started.
Got it. And that was because you wanted to milk them?
Yeah, we wanted the goat soap, we wanted the milk, we wanted all the
Okay.
things. And then my daughter Reese, my oldest, well, she's my oldest of my youngest 3,
Okay.
and she really loved them, researched them, and found them to be, like, the most beneficial, and she likes studying milk stars, and so she wanted those for our housewarming gift when we moved here, and so she got
Uh,
those right away. Yeah.
okay. Cool. Yeah, I've always wanted Nigerian dwarf goats, literally from when I was a kid, and never have. I was close to getting a little herd a couple years ago, but realized that our fencing just isn't up
Oh,
to snuff for it yet. So
yeah. Be
we've
part of it.
held off. But
Yeah.
yeah, those baby dwarf goats, there's really nothing cuter, I don't think.
Yeah.
They're
They're
pretty
little
awesome.
hoppers. They hop around everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then you have the miniature cattle. When did you first start getting into them? I mean, it's just in the last couple few years, is that
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah,
4
so
years? Okay.
our goat dealer, she had some miniature cattle at her farm, and every time I went to pick up a goat, I would see them,
Uh-huh.
and I fell in love with them, and I just would go pet them, and I couldn't leave. Like, I was like, "I don't know, I'm, like, very connected to them." And then one day she decided that she was not gonna do the miniature cattle, and she called me and said, "If you want these, they're yours." Like, I had to buy them, but so I just lost my mom and my grandmother, and I was feeling pretty erratic at the time, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Yep, yep, let me come get them." So,
Nice.
got a little transporter, like, we didn't even have a like, we weren't even prepared, but I literally brought them on the property,
Uh,
and it was soon after the goats, so
yeah. And I guess you didn't mention having cattle when you were a kid growing up. So were these your first cattle or?
oh, yeah, very first.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we had cattle farms all around us, so it was, like, in Ohio,
Yeah.
but I did not have cattle,
Nice.
at all, yeah.
And were you aware at that point of kind of the growing interest across the country in miniature cattle? Like, did you know Ponderosa or any of the other big social media folks?
No, I did not. So I did see, like, of course, you see on Facebook, like, miniature cattle, and I thought, how great would that be? Because we're creating a farmstead. We want the Nigerian dwarfs. We want, like, smaller footprint on our pasture. Like, that was the goal. And I honestly just wanted something to, like, love that was a little bigger than a goat and honestly smaller than a horse because we did horses all my life and we
Yeah.
had horses. still at that point too, we ended up adding horses. We don't have them now,
Okay.
but we had horses then. So no, it was honestly saw them, bonded with them from that fence, and then realized like started doing research right when I met them for the first time. And then to
Uh-huh.
the time she told me I could buy them. And I am a geek. So if I'm interested in something, I literally talk to everybody, study everything I can, get all the vet
That's
opinions.
good.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And so that first group then, were they kind of a variety of crossbred mini cows, or what were they?
Yeah. So they were high parks.
Okay.
High parks. May was chondro positive,
Uh-huh.
very tiny. And then Annabelle was a mini and she had
Okay.
black tips. May has yellow tips. And
Okay.
they were for Family Circle Farm, just so you know that as we get into this
Okay.
subject.
Nice. Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, and so then maybe we'll just touch on the cats and then get
Yeah.
back mostly to the
Yeah.
livestock stuff.
Yeah.
I've also bred dogs and cats in the past as well, and it is a very different kind of thing, I feel like, than farming and livestock, and it's also viewed differently by a lot of people. Like, for some reason, breeding livestock is generally like, "Oh, that's cool, that's acceptable," but breeding dogs and cats, there's a lot more kinda side eyes, like, is that really legit? Why are you doing this? Aren't there tons of kittens being killed every day? All that good stuff.
Oh,
Um, so yes, I'm curious, like how you decided to do that, and if that has gone as hoped and expected, or if that's more of just kind of a fun hobby side thing that you'll do occasionally.
well, as we start talking, you'll know that I like to help people. And I know that that sounds like crazy about the cats. Like, how do you help people with cats, right? I have really bad cat allergies and
Mm,
I've never been able to have one in house without feeling
mhm.
really sick. And my dad has the same. It runs in the
Okay.
family. My aunt had a Siberian and we could go to her house. We didn't have problems. And finally, like, you just kind of sometimes get a craving to have, something inside since you're always outside and bonding. And my dad said, "Well, what about these Siberians?" And I'm like, "Well, let's look into this." So we did. And we found how hard it was to get them and find a purebred Siberian. And so we actually imported ours from Russia
Oh,
and
well. Mhm.
brought them in. We tested them to see, like, do we have allergies? And we found that their temperaments were absolutely amazing. They were like
Mhm.
dogs,
Mhm.
and you can't even you don't even know until you experience. You can't even explain it to people. And so we raised them up. We bred our first 2 litters, at the end of last year. So definitely hyperallergenic, low shedders, super
That's great.
smart, easy to keep, expensive, of course, but you can you can definitely train them up. And then we started wanting to offer these to families so they, again, not get scammed, that they could have a great pet that we knew was
Mhm.
socialized. Like all those same things went through my head. And so we did, honestly, we sold the first 2 litters. It was really great, but I didn't realize how much work it was going to be.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. Like,
Mhm.
so I'm outside working all day. I'm working at a full-time job, and then I was inside working all day, and the
Yeah.
stress I had, like, around delivery, and we had a C-section the
Yeah.
first one.
Okay.
Is it going as expected? Yes, the demand is there.
Okay.
It is time consuming, so I think I'll stick to, like, 2 litters a year. It's not gonna be,
Okay.
like, a huge profit, but it
Yeah.
definitely will bring in a few extra income and kinda pay for the ones I have and possibly a little more, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
we found that kind of the first 3 or 4 weeks, like, the mom does everything and takes care of them, but then those last 4 or 5 weeks that you have them before they go to their new homes, it's just a lot.
It is a
I
lot.
mean, they're so fun and so cute, but yeah, it's requires everyone in the house to be on the same page about being willing to be part of it, so,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, another thing I've seen, so what we have are Maine Coons, and they have similar great personality, but they're not hypoallergenic, and they do shed a lot.
Yeah.
um, well, yeah, move on from the cats there
Yeah.
and kind of get back to the bigger business side of things. And I know we were just chatting before we started. I have a lot of questions about the money part of it, not because I'm like a total money freak or person, but
Yeah.
I just think that it's not something that is often talked about very directly in animal communities. And I think naturally there's hesitation people have about sharing things that are personal to their finances and stuff. But I'm being in kind of the tech world, I'm exposed to a lot of the like other entrepreneurial type industries, and I've been kind of personally interested in kind of finance and the concept of financial freedom and stuff over a number of years. And so in those communities, it is a lot more common to kind of be open and honest about what your situation is and get advice from other people and stuff. So that's
Yeah.
part of the goal for this show and what I'm doing on Creatures generally is just to kind of not be as apologetic or dancing around the finance side of it, but to actually try to paint a realistic picture for people who are trying to figure out, is this actually something that could be a supplemental income or even support myself or my family eventually? Or is it better to let it be the fun hobby and keep my regular job and kind of do them both at the same time? So, yeah, just interested in hearing a variety of opinions and experiences and stories from people. So, that's
Yeah.
the greater context of this section of these questions. And like we talked about, yeah, feel free to share as much or as little as you want. So, first thing, any kind of rough estimate on kind of what total sales were from your various animal businesses over the last year, couple of years, how it's changed?
Yeah, I mean, at first, of course, it was pretty low. This is and we'll talk about the partnership and why. But yeah, I started out as hobby and realized it's really expensive to be a hobby farm. And so, like, I have to either decide at this point to, like, downsize or to actually get into the business, and
Mhm.
can I help enough people with the time that I have, right? And so my first year of sales was, like, super, super low. I think we're, like, 20,000, something like that. The second year, definitely we were getting a little higher, 40-ish, 50-ish, something like that.
Mhm.
Third year, it goes up, and then last year we're over 100, like, just for
Okay.
me.
That's good.
It is, yeah, but we'll talk about what I spent.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It definitely shows me potential, right? Like, if I can get my costs under control, definitely would matter a lot to my family and the livelihood, and just know my husband works here full time, so it's very imperative
Okay.
that he brings the income in enough, and we were able to bring him home, so I can say we wanted that for our family. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've seen for myself, I've been doing it for about 4 years too with the cattle.
Mhm.
Just bought 3 or 4 the first year and had my first couple of calves the following year, and so, yeah, it's been a very slow, steady growth, and I always kinda tell people very freely, like, my goal is that the animals could at least pay for themselves
Yeah.
rather than being a drain on our family finances. I personally don't have a huge aspiration to, like, have a big one of the big social media kind of cattle breeding operations myself, because now I've gotten so excited about this platform that I'm building and kind of see that as maybe the way that I can try to contribute and be involved and hopefully make some money from it as well. And I think I'll be happy to have, yeah, kind of a smaller herd of animals that I really like each one and love spending time with. But yeah, that's why I think it's cool that there's a different kind of path for everyone who gets into it, whether you have a couple of animals or 20 or 100 or 3,
Yeah.
like some of the people out there, so,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, and so of those kind of totals, is the vast majority of that always from the mini cattle, or how does that kinda break down?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like you were just talking, is like we want to support our farm. Like like I don't want to be negative because of my hobby. It's just really not right for my family to have to
Yeah.
sacrifice because I'm obsessed with animals. But yeah, the Nigerian dwarfs don't pull in a whole lot, and that's again, the animal value conversation is a whole nother thing. But you spend so much time like breeding and raising them and making sure they're healthy. Their value is just not there to really. I mean, they would pay for themselves and their feed, but it really wasn't helping
Okay.
the and the time. And so the miniature cattle definitely is where the income is mostly coming from.
Mhm.
That is sustaining the farm. They are definitely supporting us, which is amazing. And that's why I'm thinking, like you said, do I want to be a major breeder or do I want to be a connector in a community where I'm helping
Mhm.
others? And so I really am at an impasse right now of like deciding
Okay.
like what does that look like? Compared to, like, what I love, right?
Yeah.
And you don't ever wanna turn your passion into something that you aren't happy with every day that you wake up, like, and my number 1 happiness comes from loving animals and loving people, and so you can have a business doing that, and I'd like
Mhm.
to prove that out, right? And not get into the big, the money-driven scenario, which we'll talk about a misconception about the miniature cattle world. Not everybody's in it just to turn dollars, like,
Mhm.
they actually some people do care about people and their experience and getting them
Yeah.
into are really just I just wanna touch is, like, we want to get people into farming. We don't just want to, like we can serve, like, hobby farms and petting zoos and things like that, but we're highly involved in FFA, and we're highly involved in, like,
Okay.
sustainability and agriculture, and we really want people to go back to the land, and so
Mhm.
miniature cattle are a really good agritourism way to get people to see a farm, understand what it looks like, and see that they might be able to do it themselves. So,
Yeah, that's a great point, and I think that that is plays into the trends we've seen over the last 5, 10 years
yeah,
of more and more people kind of sharing that kind of feeling and idea
yeah,
of, "Hey," and especially I think goes along with the remote work concept of
yeah,
maybe if you don't have to live in the city or in the suburbs, then you could still have a regular job or stay in the industry that you were in, but still kind of reconnect with the land and have some kind of little homestead or whatever it is. And
yeah.
so that's really cool. And I just saw you posted something about, I think one of your daughters in a FFA, or is it, do you do 4-H too, or just FFA or?
FFA,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, we have our own 4-H on our property. I'm just kidding. But she is in, like, dairy judging. She does a lot of really
Okay.
cool stuff, and she wants to be a vet, but she was the reason why we pretty much started this farm,
Oh, wow. Uh-huh.
and, she is just got vice president of FFA, so that's
Nice.
that's
Congrats.
really big for her.
Yeah. I never was aware of the world of kind of livestock judging, especially in youth,
Yeah.
until Instagram randomly decided to show me, I think it was a couple years ago, these 2 kids, who do mostly like who got famous because of swine judging and, like, showing pigs.
Yeah.
But they're like a brother and sister, high schoolers who now they have, like, this huge, huge following. It seems like they're flying around the country all the time, basically going to these competitions, and
It's
it's
a
a
big
huge
deal.
kind of niche that I was not familiar with at all,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
a new
cool,
growth.
yeah.
She was, at Virginia Tech this weekend, and
Okay, that's not too far from us, yeah.
yeah, she wasn't far from you at all, and so she
Nice.
is studying for a dairy judging contest, and she hopes to go to Louisville, so it's
Okay,
a big deal. Yeah.
nice, that's great. So it sounds like just wrapping up that finance part of it, the year-over-year growth has been kind of a pretty steady
Yeah.
trend up, just kinda sounds like based on the investments that you're putting into the business, that is naturally what you would expect if things aren't totally crashing and burning. But you've been growing your own herd and having relative success with your breeding and connecting with customers.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, and the demand and we'll talk about the partnership, but the demand was exceeding what I had, which is honestly a good problem, but it's like you have to decide, like, how you help people, and then that's important, and then how do you make enough money to support everything that you're doing, all your time and all your money put in, so, yeah, the actual revenue is growing. My expenses are growing too, but I do think we'll get a handle on that,
Yeah.
just, like, stuff I've learned to, like.
Yeah, and so when you talk about expenses, maybe we don't have to get all into it right now, but are you mostly thinking about, like, buying more animals or, like, the fencing and the waters and the kind of hard investment costs for getting a farm up and running?
Yeah, so I use, a thing called Farm Bright, right? And so a lot of my expenses, 42% of my expenses are like is purchasing, and I think that's going to slow down, right? Because I was looking.
Of animals, you mean?
Yes,
Okay.
purchasing of animals, and that was finding the right genetics, like one we got from you. But we've, we were really looking for a specific conformation, temperament, all those things, and so
Mhm.
there's a lot of money that goes into that, but other costs, just so people listening, is feed is like 17% of my expenses, vets 12%, supplies, which is other supplies, like what is minerals,
Right.
fencing, all those things, repairs is another 15%, and then there's all kinds of things that come up that you just don't expect, and then you're always kind of trying to figure out, like, how do you keep them the healthiest? What do you invest in? And being a nurse background, I'm always looking at, like, better minerals, better products, better way to feed, and so we're learning how to buy more in bulk and things like that. So this is just
Okay.
lessons, that we're learning, but I
Yeah.
do think it'll even out. So if the buying slows down and now I'm learning to buy in bulk and now I'm kinda getting my kind of protocols in place of where my expenses will be and not be. I study those. It is very business. You have to know where you're spending money
Mhm.
and know where you have abilities to have partnerships or whatever you can. Like for hay, I trade cattle for hay. Like there's things that you got to
Okay.
think through,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
that's good. Well, speaking of buying animals, are you okay sharing what's the most you've ever paid for an animal and if you felt like it was worth it?
So I'm a very cautious buyer. And when I say that is like I really have found some really good stuff for really low prices, but it is from small breeders that don't even
Uh,
like they just have great stuff, but we have spent. And so when I say spent, like working with Family Circle Farms, we've bought quite a few trying to increase our herd. We bought one from you, 14.5. That's one of our highest,
Okay.
believe it or
Nice.
not. But
That's great. Yeah.
she is worth it. She is absolutely
Glad to hear
amazing.
that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And then the next expense is a bull, right? Like we spent 16. And
Okay.
just thinking through that, like that was an incredible bred bull that is probably
Mm.
gonna he's definitely gonna make his money back, right? And so those are probably it, and what made it worth it is the genetics, the size, the conformation, the temperament. I mean, it's just a perfect specimen, and you have to spend money where you know you wanna see your program, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. One thing that I've seen, I probably haven't talked to enough people to say that it's totally true, but it feels like a lot of the most successful breeders in the Highland and mini cattle space probably are very picky buyers and don't and are really have done well looking for good deals out there, and probably on kind of an average amount that they've spent per animal is much smaller than what they're selling their calves
Yep.
for. And I think it's a strange phenomenon that you can almost always find a good breeding cow for a lot less than you'll find these cute little calves that are bringing in the high dollar amounts. So yeah,
Yeah, you invest in your bull, right? You wanna have really good genetics in your bull, and you do on your female too, like your dams. You definitely do, but I'm looking for, like, birthing ease, good hair, good
mhm,
temperament, like, what's gonna matter? But yeah, I think you kinda cracked the nut, like, on the higher end for us, like, we really weren't spending that, but we had
mhm,
great people that we were working with that weren't charging for their, like, high for their genetics. I don't know, I've found some amazing stuff, but it takes time. I think this is another thing, is the time and effort to find it, right? It's not overnight. Like
yeah,
if you aren't willing to spend that and you're just looking for a perfect genetic specimen, it literally could take you a year to find what you were looking for.
yeah. And it can be hard to know exactly what you're actually going to get if you're not seeing it physically in person. I mean, of course,
It's true.
videos and FaceTiming and stuff you can, but a
Yeah.
lot of the animals you see advertised in a Facebook post or in an auction or something, you kind of have to make a decision, am I going to go for this or not? And unfortunately, in my experience, there is not a ton of transparency about kind of what the background of an animal might be or the reason someone is selling it or how big it actually is. Um,
Now, auction animals, I don't do very often, but when I do have bought them, I did not get what I expected.
okay.
Now, when I have bought from a person, like a farm like you or
Mhm.
Jamie at Minimum, there's a few that I've worked with that I have gotten exactly what I thought I was getting. And I was actually impressed by what I got versus like disappointed.
That's good.
So I will say is having a good relationship with a farm where and I think you sent me thousands of videos and pictures and like,
Yeah, I don't want anyone to be surprised or disappointed. So
yeah.
even if there is something that I know isn't perfect or maybe isn't ideal, I'd rather overshare and have the deal not happen rather than have them be disappointed or surprised or feel like I was trying to pull a fast one on them.
But you heard like, you sent me a picture of aspen. There was another one in the background, and I automatically knew I want like, that was a one that I wanted. It's like you
uh,
learn to spot, like,
mhm.
you learn to see and spot exactly what you're wanting, and but you have to have a vision of that, right, when
Yeah.
you're buying. Yeah.
That's a good point. So, yeah, it was interesting you said that you prefer to buy from real kind of people and farmers and not as much auctions.
Mhm.
And we'll get into this a little bit, but of course, you're kind of organizing and holding an auction on the Creatures platform where I think you're trying to kind of bring together
Me too.
those two things, hopefully in an effective way of really having the real people, the real farms behind the animals there front and center and not as much just kind of the anonymous animal with maybe 2 or 3 photos and
Yeah.
maybe someone's name, but you don't really know anything more about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm really excited to see you doing that and kind of taking the vision of what I'm trying to make possible with that. Always hesitate because I don't want people to have the impression that I, like, am an auction person or think that auctions are, like, the best way to
Oh,
do
I
it
was
because
so
that's
afraid. Yeah.
not the case at all. Like, I think private sales are a great thing that should happen a lot of the time and a majority of the time. And I hope that the marketplace, just the standard marketplace on creatures, can kind of continue to fill that bigger role, but I do think there's a place for kind of having the price discovery of an auction format. And also, just if someone is at the point where I just need to move these animals and you're willing to kind of take that risk involved with the auction format, then that's a place that it can be the right option as well. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of different ways to do things, and it just happens to be this is one of the big things that I'm putting out there on creatures is at the beginning, but I hope that that's not like the main thing or the only thing that people will be using it for.
Well, Elliot, the only reason I'm doing an auction on your site is because I felt like you could help me create a forum where there could be real farms, real people, real information, and an auction format that some people do like. Not everybody, but some people do like that. It also helps out and want because you know how many phone calls, how many I take a day, like
Yeah.
on and things like that. And when we talk about profit margins and time and balancing, like
Yeah,
there has to be a way to be able to share about an animal instead of typing it up 400 times, right? So
exactly.
and form relationships and trust and credibility. And so you're the first like site I've ever seen to help do that in a way that gives me time back, still creates relationship and connectivity, and still can give a forum where I can do it in a one day, sale or in a way that gives somebody a personal connection and
Mhm.
ask questions and get feedback and see the comments. So just know that I'm not against auctions, but I'm just not that's not my experience that I put
Yeah,
out, my brand, and so this is why I've tried this because I think it might be a solution, and we'll see, right?
yeah, yeah, lots of unknowns still. But yes, that's encouraging to hear, and that is the goal with it is
Yeah.
to kinda I like to think of it kind of trying to bring some of the benefits of the traditional in-person sale barn
Mhm.
that is honestly, it's kind of like a community event. People get together and it's a social gathering, and I think people do enjoy seeing who's bidding on what animals, and
Yeah.
maybe that influences their decision to bid or to not bid on a particular animal. That's a lot of some of the feedback I've gotten on the creatures auction format is it's different from any other livestock online format that is out there. And so I've had a lot of people like, oh, I don't think people want to see who else is bidding or don't. Like they're not going to bid if their name is associated with it. And that may be true for some people who really value the anonymity part of it, but the reality is that in-person livestock sales have you've always been able to see who's bidding and who's getting involved in it. So I
Yeah.
think there's something there, but yeah, I think that there's time for different formats too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So you shared what you've paid for an animal. Can you share what the highest you've sold an animal is?
Ooh, probably around the same. I need to look. That's the one thing I didn't look up.
That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that same range, right?
Probably
That
around
yeah.
15,000 or so.
Now yeah, yeah, like, they're around the 15,000 mark. Now, we do have just so you know, like, we are when I say this is we don't wanna be unreasonable in the way we price. So, there is a lot of value in the animals that we have that could probably be priced higher, but is that reasonable? And so just know, like, I know that there's animals going for 30 and
Yeah.
higher than that, but coming from, like, how I feel about animals, it doesn't always sit right. Like, I'd love
Mhm.
for that to happen, but, like, is that buyer gonna get the value? I don't know. I worry about the buyer a little there, but I do think that fair range, like from 10 to 15,000, if you have an exceptional animal, I think that makes sense, right? It's cost you that to pretty much find the right genetics to breed that and the time it took
Mhm.
to get there does need to be rewarded, but I don't want it to go like, in an unfair
Yeah,
high.
I think maybe you're nicer than I am because I would love to sell
You're like,
an
"I'll be
animal for
15,000."
as much as someone wants to pay for it because they're the one valuing it at
But
that
that I mean, if it
amount
was in an
then. Yeah.
auction setting and they wanted to do that, that's different.
Yeah.
That's why also too, like, an auction will help us not just sell as, like, farmers and partners, but it may
Mhm.
also understand are we undervaluing our work,
Yeah.
right? Is
Well,
some
and
of this
that's one thing I'm really hoping to convince a few people who have great demand from their own followers and quality animals is that actually kind of the individual animal auction could be an interesting
yeah,
play in that scenario because rather than you have this beautiful calf born, you send it out to your list and say it's this much money,
yeah,
and then the first person who
buys it.
emails you back gets it.
Mhm.
What if you sent out
This.
the one day auction link for it instead and let the 5 people who are interested in it kind of bid it out and decide on what it was
It's
worth
gonna
to
help
them.
too. It's gonna create more like, this is actually, Elliot, this is like my next project is to do this one day, this one animal auction.
Hmm.
And the reason is because I do think we sometimes price them lower than what they're worth. I do think that. Because I've seen the same type or less sell for more.
Hmm.
And I can almost guarantee, like, through genetics of, like, 5 different generations size-wise, like, what I
Oh,
think
wow.
we're gonna
Mhm.
get, but we have a wait list, and sometimes I'm, like, sending it out, and it gets really gray, right? Like, and who first, what, did you receive the deposit? So I'm like, "Why not just use this one animal, get the real value?" It's
Yeah.
not it's black and white, so it's like you bid, you didn't bid, and then it's closed once it's over versus, like, me trying to navigate who is doing what when.
Mhm.
It can get really, really
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen so many comparisons and was inspired in some of the kind of dynamics on the platform from people buying and selling high end kind of collectible cars. Even though I'm not a car person myself, but kind of randomly stumbled upon the fact that there are several of these platforms that really do a good job of providing kind of a community for people who are into this same thing to buy and sell and chat with each other about the things that they are really passionate about. So there's a site called Bring a Trailer that I've been inspired by in terms of how I set up the listings and the auction format on creatures too. But yeah, it does the same thing. And basically, it's rather than putting your car listing on Craigslist or whatever it is and saying this is how much it costs, you let the
The buyer.
community of people who are into that and who have been following the market and things put that value on it. And yeah, so I think there's some for that. And I kind of initially I thought and still have wondered about this of just kind of only having the more kind of premium animals
Yeah.
allowed to be auctioned on creatures as a way to differentiate it. That's what Bring a Trailer does. Like you have to apply to sell a car on the platform
Yeah.
and they have to kind of approve it that it's special enough. Like you can't sell your old
I love
Corolla
that.
or something. Yeah. So
I
that's an
really do.
interesting
But just
concept too.
know,
Yeah.
I don't mind if they pay more if they decide the value.
Yeah.
I don't Does that make sense? Like, it sounds really, like, messed up, like, but for me, I am nice in that way. Like, I would sell a really nice car for its blue, like, regular
Yeah.
value, maybe worth more because I do like, I care so much about people and overpaying because I get concerned. But if
Yeah.
they decide the value, they know the value, and if that means that much to them, then I think I
Yeah.
think I feel better with that than
Yeah.
driving it than me deciding, if that makes sense.
And I think, I mean, there's just a lot of people who have a lot of money and they spend money on that. I
Everything.
mean, that kind of money on a purse or on a watch
Oh,
or
it's
on a car or whatever it is. So why not let them spend what
too.
they want on a really cool animal who can be a friend and a companion over years?
Very true. See, I think of me as the buyer, and that's my fault, right? I need to, like, think there's
Yeah.
plenty of people with more money than me that can make it happen.
So back to your farm, do you have an estimate on kind of how many animals you actually have now and what the costs are for running that kind of apart from the investment in new animals?
Yeah. I have way too many. No, it's not gonna, I mean, when I say combined, so as you I we didn't talk a lot about this just yet, but because I had so much demand and I had such a connection with family circles, we've combined a lot of our herds. So, like, we share some bulls, we share some stock. I
Mhm.
helped purchase quite a few last year to just build the genetics. And so between this, there is a lot. So just at my farm, I have 20 mamas,
Okay.
like around there. And I do consider us, like, kinda conjoined as in stock-wise and livestock
Mhm.
availability. And then at his farm, we're close to probably 60 to 70 mamas. We're
Wow.
close I mean, we're getting close to 100.
Okay.
Mhm.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
And those are mostly kind of breeding age now. So you expect around that many calves this
Um
year?
I think, around 100 is about close. Like, we were, like,
Uh,
50, 60-ish, I think, last year, and
okay.
then, probably close to 100 once they're all mature, so they're not all there yet, so I've
Yeah.
got a few that I'm raising off, so I'm trying to even count. We probably have a good, like, 15 that aren't ready yet.
Okay.
So in waiting, right? We'll get
Yeah.
there.
So
But,
maybe 75 calves this year you're
yeah,
expecting.
I think around 70. Yeah.
Man, I can't imagine trying to sell that many, but good for you that you have the following and the community to do that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. It seems kind of surreal, honestly. It really does. The amount of calves that we are able to sell is it's a blessing, honestly. I just don't even know, but it feels so good to match people and they're happy and they get what they want. And yeah, it's really nice, Elliot. It's a good
that's
feeling.
great.
And the people I've met, wow, pretty great.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so with those animals, again, so when you mentioned using Farm Bright for the accounting,
Yeah.
do you have two separate kind of accounts for Family Circle and you, or so you can split things down there? That's me.
Yeah, yeah, we do a lot of different like, we have a lot of like, it's not even easy to explain the partnership because we have different avenues, like embryos, semen, we share bulls, we've got mamas, I've got mamas there, I sometimes have his mamas here, I might be training some of his calves. It's truly like a collaboration, and we kinda organically work through it.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
let's get into that a little bit. I had those
yeah,
questions further
yeah,
down, but could you just, yeah, explain what that relationship is? And I know when we first talked, then I was intrigued by that. And I
yeah,
think could be a cool model because there are a lot of people who are really good at social media and love that.
yeah.
And then there are people who can't stand it. And if there could be a way to kind of bring them together to help market and sell the animals, then it could result in something cool like what you're doing.
Yeah, well, I kinda gave you the story a little bit about May and Annabelle, and
Mhm.
of course, when I was obsessed with them, I wanted to know where they came from. How did that work? And so they came from Family Circle Farms. She went to their farm,
Okay.
she explored it, she vetted through like tons of breeders and found them to be the most compelling and the most honest. And so I thought, well, that's good. Like, let me see. So when I wanted to buy a bull, I went to them, but I kept in touch and just sent them pictures of them growing up because I mean, I would want to know what they look like. And they actually like Mike wanted to know. What did his cow look
Mhm.
like? How was she
Mhm.
doing? How was she turning out? And I found that really, I just found that really inspiring that he cared that much about something that he was, putting off his farm.
Mhm.
And we just started chatting and were kind of aligned in a lot of different things. And, as I started to buy and he started to see that I loved to market and he saw my passion for cows. And then one day it was almost like a mutual, but he's like, can we chat? And then the minute I already knew, like, if we're going to work together, like, I feel this is going to happen. And he's like, what if we just work together? I know you love like social. I'm not great at that. I know you are very, very passionate and you love customers. I'm really not the best at that, even though he's
Mhm.
he's actually really good with customers, but
Okay.
it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
And so it just kind of organically happened. It was like I loved his cow so much. And yes, once I got May and Annabelle, I researched every breeder there was. I looked at all their cattle. I looked at how they were selling. I looked at the prices they were doing. Searched their animals they sold to see what they look like now. Like I was
Mhm.
really crazy about this stuff.
Mhm.
And I started to see patterns I didn't like and did like. And then I was like, and then I started following Mike and finding his cows and what they look like. And they were like drop like 3, 4 years later, drop dead gorgeous. So I'm like, okay, I feel like he's honest and he gets it and he's selling true minis and he's breeding correctly. He's doing it. He was doing a lot of live cover. So, anyways, the thing is you have to have trust. You have to be aligned. And then we just couldn't figure out like the money thing's very difficult. Like, right, how does that work? If
Yeah.
you run my social media, you run my website, you know all my cattle. So I did a farm visit, literally have seen and walked and like I know every cattle he has. I've named
Mhm.
a lot of them that we bought last year. I know all their measurements, where they came from. I keep records, but it just evolved into something crazy. Like we're doing embryos now, which I don't know that I ever really wanted to do embryos, but Mary Kate and Ashley are spectacular, and those are those tiny little twins.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so
Uh-huh.
yeah, like, we gotta see what their babies are gonna look like, and it's not safe for them right now at their even though they're
Okay.
overdue, they're just too small.
Yeah.
So, we're just dabbling in some stuff, and we're just trying to figure out, like, what's best for our customers, and how do we serve people in a family circle way, in a Seven
Yeah.
Daugherty Farm way.
And so how did you kinda have that hard conversation about the money part of it and whatever
We
you were able to share about kind of how it's set
Yeah.
up if it's yeah.
Well, we just set it up in all different ways. So, there's, like, different things. So, basically, I do all the sales. I'm the front facing to his cattle, so there
Mhm.
is profit sharing in that, right? So, it's
Okay.
more and then on the bulls, we, like, split the bulls that we share, or I get a certain percent of the bulls that he has. So,
Mhm.
we have worked out different structures for each thing that I do. It's kinda like it's similar to what I do in like in any of my like businesses I've been involved in. You get like tiered structures, or if you sell this much, or if you do this
Mhm.
much. But it's much more than me just getting like a commission to sell, right? So it is definitely an intertwining. Like we
Mhm.
talk through who's going to breed with who, what's going to happen here, like who should we bring in, and we keep track of who's coming due. So we definitely are working really, really collaboratively. So some things are 50%, some things are 25%, some things are
Mhm.
10. It just depends on my type of ownership, how much he owns, and what work I'm doing. So it's not your typical like, "Hey, I charge you 25%, I'll sell all your stuff." No,
Yeah.
it's we just I don't think it can be that way. And I don't think I would function that way because I think we talked
Yeah.
about me maybe like I thought about maybe doing like a marketing role for farmers.
Yeah.
I am
Yeah, I
too
was gonna ask if it's the type of thing you think you could scale up or would want to do for other people, but it doesn't sound like it necessarily.
I help other people just to be helpful, like, especially our clients, like, honestly, that's where this auction came from, is a lot of people
Mhm.
who bought from us or people that I know from the business, and I really have tried to consult or just kinda give free advice, but
Mhm.
I am too connected, right? So I get too involved. That's just my that is a fault too, is, like, I really care about the people I work with, which you should, but, I think I don't know that I could at this capacity because our businesses are so intertwined. It just wouldn't
Mhm.
be fair to the time that I put into Family Circle and then my
Yeah,
own career. But
that
maybe
makes sense.
but your platform can help people do that, I hope, or we could figure
Yeah,
something
we'll
out.
see. Yeah, it's just I've always been fascinated by how the value of an animal can be so dependent on the marketing ability of the breeder and the social media following. I mean,
It's telling a
it
story.
can
Yeah.
3x, 5x, 10x the value of what's realistically a very similar animal, but it is because, yeah, they're great at telling the story of it and about their farm and their family, and people get connected to those stories and to being kind of involved in that. And so that's something, yeah, I've just wondered and tried to figure out how you could kind of either help other people to get better at that themselves or in combination with kind of sharing the excess demand that you have from your following with others who and teaming up with people to provide kind of quality animals through that. So
And know that
exploring, yeah.
I have a couple local farms to me that I have worked with for years too, and they are great, but they are small breeders, right? And the reason I work with them is like I had their bull, they have my bull. Like you do form a community. And I know a lot of people are doing this. I don't think they talk about it as much, but I do help a few local small farmers, just so you know. And typically it's under my umbrella
Okay.
and they usually are on my farm. So there's a lots of different things. And but I am kind of at capacity now at this
Yeah.
point. It's like you said, can you scale it? Not in the way I do it. Unfortunately, like, if I did it in a way that was a platform or something like that, or I coached or taught,
Mhm.
maybe, but I am, like, very
Yeah.
hands-on,
You
so
need a course, your own
I
online course.
I know. I
I don't think
maybe
I've seen a mini cattle course yet, so
who knows? Coming
there you
soon.
go. Yeah.
Creatures.
No.
Be hosting how to sell.
Well, we're running up on our time here, but I don't wanna miss some of those tougher questions
Yeah.
as well. So, you know, we both know that there's kind of some controversy around miniature cattle. There's a
Mhm,
lot of bickering within the community about different
mhm,
practices.
mm.
And even more bickering from the mini cattle community to the traditional registered
Yeah.
Highlands or commercial cattle. Unfortunately, I think that's part of being human is people love to argue about everything. But was curious, yeah, if you had any kind of 1 minute or 2 minute thoughts on the state of the mini cattle market right now and kind of where you think it's healthy and what people who may be considering getting into it should be aware of in terms of some of these controversies.
Yeah, I mean, I get asked this question a lot from buyers, right? Just like buyers like trying to decide, like, do I want a mini? Do I want an AHCA? What am I looking for? And I always tell them, like, find where you align, right? Find what makes you happy and where you want to be. And if you there are extremes to everything. People who really feel like standards are the way, or people who feel like crosses are the way, or depending on what their passion is their opinion, right? That's just how it's going to work.
Mhm.
And so I do stay in my bubble just a bit, just so you know, like I used to let this stuff get to me, like especially I am not the type of person that will ever like say someone's doing something wrong or you shouldn't do it that way or
Mhm.
because everybody has different opinions on what they want, what they like, what they want to see. If your animal is healthy and it's loved and taken care of, and the person caring for it gets satisfaction from that animal, to me, like no judgment should be there.
Mhm.
I just don't think that that's right. I mean, there's other aspects of life that these things come up to, like even when you're raising a child, like breastfed, not breastfed. Do you commingle? I mean, there's like
Yeah,
so many things that
that's
people
true. Yeah.
have opinions on or dogs. Do you
Uh-huh.
mix your dog? Do you not mix your dog? Or,
Yeah.
I mean, whatever it is, that's going to be a human condition where we just plain like want to like post things with other people, which to me, I'm just going to ultimately tell you it's ego. It's not, if you're looking out for the animal, you wouldn't focus on any of that.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
That makes sense. I think that's a great perspective. And
Yeah.
so that might mean you don't want to answer this next question then about a practice in the industry that you disagree with.
I don't. The only thing I disagree with is anything that may harm an animal. Like
Yeah.
that is not safe and that you know that you could have a circumstance that's not good. If you're knowingly, intentionally breeding danger, that's upsetting. Yeah.
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 Mhm.
And then question about your kind of family life. You said you decided to move back to the country and the farm as a way to, because that's the vision that you shared for your kids and raising your family and stuff. Has that kind of lived up to the hope for it? I mean, of course, ups and downs along the way, but yeah, has it worked and has it been easier or harder than you thought?
First of all, I'm so proud of my family. I mean, I get teary even thinking about it.
Hmm.
They went from living on a lake in the suburbs to living on a farm and working their butt off like 20. And
Oh,
so my son runs the egg business. He gets all the profit from that. So that's his business, and that's kind of funny about your story, but
yeah.
that he literally arranges, like, delivery, and he
Oh,
collects
nice.
all, he boxes them. So it's amazing to watch. Yeah, my daughter, who's gonna be a vet, she's out here and, like, she's artificial and she can do. She's certified with me.
Wow.
She does it with me. She helps me take care of the goats. She helps me give vaccines. I mean, literally, this girl is my right hand. And my husband devotes like his entire day, every day to this. What it has helped me see is what my family is capable of and the love that these animals, like just being last night with the animals and they're all coming up to us and we're just like brushing them. It's like
That's the best. Yeah.
it's a euphoria of like, okay, I
Hmm.
love them, they love me. But not only that, my family is fulfilled. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of missed vacations. It's a lot of sacrifice. It really, really is of time and resources. And does my family get aggravated sometimes because I don't want to leave the farm? Yeah. I mean, they'd like to do other things and explore and they'd like me to be with them. So some friction there a bit on just balancing of time. But to me, to watch their character build, to watch them with the land, to see them like being with the animal or even gardening or making goat milk soap with me on the weekend, like
Hmm.
I have viewed the world in a different way, and you can't even explain that level of happiness, like, and fulfillment. You just don't get that from things, right? You don't get that from the purse or, walking in you just don't get it. It's amazing, and again, they flourished here. They didn't want it. They were very like, they were very nervous about moving out of the city, except for the one
Hmm.
daughter, who's, like, super excited to have a farm, and now I see them, like, checking on animals and just becoming amazing humans, and vice president of FFA, going to be a veterinarian. She's like, she could run this farm. Like,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I love it. That's great. Well, quickly, so we've mentioned your upcoming auction a couple of times. Do you just want to give? So it's Mother's Day. It's
Mhm.
the Saturday of Mother or the Sunday of Mother's
It's
Day.
the Saturday before, yeah.
Saturday. Okay,
We don't wanna
and
bother mothers on auctions
there you
on
go.
the day. We want them
That's
to
good.
feel like a winner on their day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, how many different farms are participating now?
Wow, that's a great question. I think it's 5 or 6.
Okay, cool.
I need to count, but yeah, I definitely it's quite a few, 50 animals. Yeah,
Yeah.
sheep, minis, donkeys, mini cattle, donkeys.
Mhm.
There are some mid-sized cattle on there. Bred, mamas, bulls, calves, all different ages,
Something for
all different
everyone, right? Yeah.
sizes. Yeah, something for everyone.
There you go. And
I
they're
know, it's
mostly
killing
in
me.
the Southeast, is that
Mostly.
right?
They're
Yeah.
mostly we just
Okay.
picked up a farm in New York, but but mostly, well, all in the East, mostly in the Southeast, except for that one farm. All smaller farmers with really good programs. Most of them I've visited. Some I have not. I've worked with them for a long time and definitely I've been there like helping them make buying decisions or they bought from
Hmm.
me, but all really kind, sweet people that just really needed some support, which is really exciting to do. And I do thank you for giving us that platform because I don't know how I could have done it. And that's what I was telling you. I couldn't scale without creatures. I couldn't
Yeah.
help this many people without having some kind of platform that still gave people that feel of the farm. So you did a question, I answered it weird, like I don't know that I can do that, but I can do this,
Yeah.
right?
No,
This
that's
is
great.
scalable. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Well, are there any questions that I should have asked you, but I didn't?
I want to tell you why we're Seven Daugherty Farm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if I can just
Of
say
course.
that.
Yeah.
So I am our family, we have 5 children. So
Okay.
we have 4 daughters and a son. He was last, of course. And so there's 7 of us. But I was married on 7/7. So my husband and I married on
Wow.
7/7. We moved to, and my whole life number has been 7, my whole entire life. I've just favorite number, all that things. I met my husband in 2007, just so you know,
Okay.
like there's a lot of that. And
Wow.
then we came here and moved to this farm and we got our track number to get our farm card. It's like your skate card, just how you
Okay.
pay tax on all your stuff.
Uh-huh.
And my farm track number is 777.
Wow. That's a lot of sevens. That makes
I
sense
mean,
then.
what in the
Yeah.
world? And my husband's like, why Seven Daugherty Farm? Like what 7? I'm like, and I was like, it just it's biblical too. So there's just so much
Yeah. That's
around
fun.
7. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's fun for me because I also have 5 kids. So we're a family of 7. And I was one of 5 kids. So it was
I
a
was one
family
of
of
5.
7. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, growing up, our family voicemail message was always welcome or thanks for calling the House of the Seven Garbers. It always sticks with me as sevens. Okay. Well, that's great. So that's a
Oh,
question
and
I
my
should have
logo
asked.
was designed by my daughter that I talk
Oh,
about.
cool. That's
So,
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So it's time for the squeeze chute. Some
Okay, here we go.
quick response questions.
All right.
So if you had to start a completely different animal business tomorrow, what would it be and why?
Oh, I don't know. I'm kind of obsessed about micro donkeys right now.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
glad I was not allowing myself to bid on your auction.
Okay. Yes, they're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just have the friendliest personalities ever. They're so
Yeah.
fun. What's an animal related tool or piece of equipment that is under $100 that has really changed your life for the better?
A halter.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah.
I mean,
Any specific brand of halter or
I just
just
use rope
halters generally?
halters.
Oh,
Yeah. Weaver has some of the best ones that I use, but honestly, literally, I am always looking for a halter and I buy them all the time and they're everywhere, all over.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you send them with your calves?
Most
Okay.
of the time we do. We have little goat halters that we send at that time, but yeah.
Nice. Okay. And how about something over $1,000?
Mm, a four-wheeler. That has changed
Okay.
my life.
Like a 4x4 kind of sidecar type thing or a
Like
traditional four-wheeler?
traditional
Ah,
four-wheeler, I mean, we can drag the fields with it. We
huh.
can,
Okay.
make hay. I mean, like, it's small buckets,
Nice.
like, move feed, like, whatever we need to do. But honestly, like,
Mhm.
I was like, "Why do we need a four-wheeler?" And now I'm like, "Wow, where's the four-wheeler?" Like, so
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
All right. What's something people get wrong about your industry or niche in the animal world?
Oh god, I hear this all the time, and I even hate to say it, but, "Oh, they're just in it for the money." I'm like, "No, we're not making the I just we just talked like I was negative, like, $70,000. Like, no, it's not the money, it is the people. It's
Mhm.
farming. It's an American dream. Like, I
I love
think
that.
sometimes
Yeah,
people can just dream.
that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
All right. Who's another guest that you would recommend for the show?
I do think Mini Moo Crew, Jamie, over there.
Okay. Nice. Okay.
Interesting.
Cool. And where can people find you and follow you online?
Everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I have a website,
And
www.
what's the best way to find you there? Your name or your farm?
Yeah, my farm, Seven Daugherty
Okay.
Farm. Facebook's probably my most, like, I think we're close to like 53,000 at this point, but the messenger goes off and I do have an insider group. So I get a lot through there and we're pretty responsive. So I'd say that
Nice.
way is the best way. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, this is fun. If you're up for it, then we'd love to go and say hello to a couple of your animals. Cool.
Okay. All
Thanks,
right.
Lindsey. All right.
Bye.
So we're outside with some animals.
We are. Let me get them. They're bombarding me. Here. This is just a few of them. It's feeding time. So this is Faith.
Uh-huh.
Fern, one of our mini jerseys. Let me see if I can get her.
Hi.
Do you see her? Aw. And then we got our sire,
Aw, yeah.
Preacher. This is our Nigerian.
Oh,
Preacher
okay.
has a
Is he
key on his
stinky?
face. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Come here, baby. They are the cutest things in the world. Here, guys, get in the picture. Here, come here. They're fighting behind me. Say
Uh-huh.
hi. Hey.
Adorable. And so how do you decide which calves get to be right there near the house with you?
All of my babies stay in the front. If they're
Oh,
not
okay.
like the newly weaned and the ones that are on the bottle are in our front pasture. And then my mamas are in the back pastures. And then I have a goat pasture, but the sires are separated right now. So,
Got it.
but you can
Okay.
tell they're all running in
Cool.
the field except Faith. As soon as she sees me, say hi.
Oh, those amazing sounds.
I know.
Cool. Well, they're adorable. Thank you for letting us meet them.
Yeah.
Nice little calf kisses there.
My
And thanks
God.
again for talking. It was really fun to learn more about your business and appreciate the sharing and the transparency.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
That was Lindsey Daugherty of Seven Daugherty Farm. You can find her everywhere online, but especially Facebook, where she's grown a community of more than 50,000 followers. If this conversation was useful, send it to one person who gets something out of it and hit subscribe so the next episode lands in your feed. Please leave us a rating and a review wherever you listen. I'll see you next time on Creatures, where animal people talk business. Have a good one.